Hello everyone, it's Raza von Werder from the University of Mother God Church, and I'm reviewing some of the things that messed up and slipped up, some of the YouTube videos that wouldn't upload, that were defected, and several of them were defected when I tried to give this. It must have been the devil, it had to be Satan, messed up the videos. What Will Hell Be Like by Saint Alphonse LIGOURI. Great saint, Saint Alphonse LIGOURI. And I did like 4 videos about his teachings. They were all defected, and so I removed them. A lot of people don't want to hear about this. They want to hear about sex and happy things, things that make them feel good. I don't blame them. And I've done a lot of videos on sex already. But I want to get back to these which I deleted, and I want to talk about what will hell be like. I have not been in hell, but I have seen my first husband, who was in a place that I thought was hell, but it improved. So I guess he was in one of the lowest place in purgatory. He was being greatly punished. He's still there as far as I know, and it was 1964 when he died, and he's still there. Okay, so some of the teachings of Saint Alphonse LIGOURI are teachings of the pagan philosophers, belief of pagans, where is hell located, the Catholic teaching, hell is a definite place, pains of hell, fire of hell, can a spiritual soul feel fire, punishment by cold, remorse of conscience, suffering from devils and darkness, pain of the loss of God, teaching of St. Thomas, God makes heaven, God makes hell, eternal choice is made during life, greatest pain of hell, the damned do not forget, the damned know nothing about us, do the damned have faith, the will is set on evil, do the damned wish evil to others, case of the rich man in hell, do the damned repent of sin, hatred of God, do the damned desire to be destroyed, punishment of hell is eternal, this punishment is not unjust, how punishment is measured, the patience of God, Jesus' parable of Dives and Lazarus, Fatima children's vision of hell. Well, let's go to Fatima children's vision of hell, because I gave the message of Our Lady of Fatima in front of the White House in June 1978, and it prevented what was looming upon the horizon, which was World War III. A woman, a 90-year-old woman from Norway in the 1960s, predicted World War III, and she explained that in World War III, she saw the devastation of a world war where nuclear weapons were used. America was affected, and all of Europe, all the civilized countries, were devastated by atomic warfare. And there was in the air radiation and fire and radiation and pollution. The waters were polluted, the air was polluted, everything was polluted. There was an atmosphere where you could not live. Europe, all the civilized countries, and America. And the people who could escaped to the poor countries, which apparently did not have the same problem. I don't know what the poor countries would be, possibly South America, I'm not sure, but the third world countries. And the people who were wealthy could escape from America and Europe, all went there, and they were treated as badly as they once treated the poor. So this sermon, which I gave in front of the White House in 1978, prevented this war, because this war was coming up. But the Holy Virgin Mary, her power was released after that sermon. And she prevented it. But people had to pray. The Holy Father that got elected, Reagan got elected, Gorbachev got elected, the Holy Father got elected, and the Holy Father consecrated Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. He did it twice. The first time didn't work right, didn't do it right, didn't work right. Second time it worked right. And between these three leaders, mostly the Pope, but including Gorbachev with perestroika, glasnost perestroika, which was the warming up of relations with the West. Reagan, he got a little soft, which was good. And the Pope especially. These leaders then, and that was after my speech, her power, people started praying the rosary for the conversion of Russia. That's what ended communism. It ended communism, and it ended the threat of World War III at that moment, which was looming in the horizon. So that prevented that war, which this woman in the 60s in Norway, 90-year-old woman, predicted, saw a vision of Europe and the United States all covered with radioactive atmosphere, radioactive water, radioactive everything. Everything was devastated. It prevented that. So let's hear what God said to the children in Fatima, 1917. In 1917, our Blessed Mother appeared 6 times at Fatima, Portugal, to Lucia dos Santos and Jacinta and Francisco Marto, 3 small children. During the course of these 6 world-famous apparitions, now approved by the Church as worthy of our devotion and propagation, the Blessed Virgin Mary made several startling statements and predictions, among them the outbreak of World War II, if people did not change their lives. Now, she predicted World War II at that time, but it did break out because people didn't amend their lives. During the July 13 apparition, she allowed the children to see a vision of hell, following is Lucia's description of what they saw. At this point, Lucia was heard to say aloud, yes, she wants people to recite the rosary. People must recite the rosary. The lady's face then grew very grave and sad, and she said, sacrifice yourselves for sinners, and say often, especially when you make some sacrifice. O my Jesus, this is for love of you, for the conversion of sinners, and in reparation for the offenses committed against the Immaculate Heart of Mary. At these words, she opened her hands on the 3 children once again, and the light streaming from them seemed to penetrate the earth, and the children beheld a vision of hell. Lucia cried out in terror, calling upon Our Lady. We could see a vast sea of fire, she revealed many years later. Plunged in the flames were demons and lost souls, as if they were red-hot coals, transparent and black or bronze-colored in human form, which floated about in the conflagration, borne by the flames which is issued from them, with clouds of smoke falling on all sides as sparks fall in a great conflagration, without weight or equilibrium, and shrieks and groans of sorrow and despair, that horrified us and caused us to tremble with fear. The devils could be distinguished by horrible and loathsome forms of animals, frightful and unknown, but transparent like black coals that have turned red hot. Full of fear, the children raised their eyes beseechingly to the lady, who said to them, with unspeakable sadness and tenderness, you have seen hell, where the souls of poor sinners go. In order to save them, God wishes to establish in the world devotion to my Immaculate Heart. If people do what I ask, many souls will be saved and there will be peace. Lucia later stated that although the vision lasted but an instant, she felt that she would have died of fear and terror if Our Lady had not already promised to take them to heaven. Now, I want to read to you from a book which I published, Mother of the Immaculate Heart. I published this, when was it? Can't even remember. It doesn't say when I published it. But this has the vision, I'm going to read it to you, that the Holy Mary gave me this vision before I preached in front of the White House. This message in front of the White House. Vision and direction from the Immaculate Heart. June 11, 1978, in Washington, D.C. I was there, of course, anticipating preaching the message in front of the White House in Lafayette Park. As I was just about to fall asleep, but still awake, I saw the heart of the Blessed Virgin Mary. It was enveloped in a brilliant white light, and the heart was in the light, the white light, like a cloud of moving light. Our Blessed Mother was to the left, presenting me the heart. She said, "I want you to show my Immaculate Heart to the whole world." Suddenly the cloud of white light moved more quickly. I saw a large brown cross in the sky, my cross, the cross I must carry and be crucified on, my work for God. The white light went to earth and formed a pool of water on the ground. The water also looked as milk. The brown cross went into the water, was dipped in the water, and came back up. I have yet to fully interpret and understand that vision. I have a pretty good idea, but someday I will meticulously examine it and understand it. To be continued.